So basically, one of my close friends was already a DJ on the station for a couple quarters, and we listened to the same music of like indie rock, surf rock, and like jazz. And essentially, she just recommended like taking a training class because she has like a lot of friends who also listen to the same music and are DJs. And I just wanted to have like a community of people that listen to the same things as me. So I took the training class, and it's been history since then.
They always tell you when you start here as a freshman to get as involved as possible. And I kind of took my first year as kind of a slow learning exercise. But once I got into sophomore year, I was like, okay, maybe this will be something that could turn out to be kind of cool. And I'm a big fan of like, localized arts and like music and stuff like that. So I figured radio may kind of be a cool thing to get into. So went to the open house that they were having at the station and met the coordinator, Kevin Stockdale, for the first time.
When I was a freshman at UCI in the fall of 1983, my friend and I from high school came to the orientation week and saw that there was an opportunity to train to be a DJ, so we took an opportunity, and that's kind of how it all began.
One memorable moment for me is one time during my 2 to 4 a.m. slot last quarter. I had this old man who called me on the radio, and he was just like complimenting my show, saying like how he really likes how chill of a vibe it was and like how relaxed it is, because I think he's had people in the past play like really loud music during that hour, so he really liked my energy at that late hour.
I think my favorite interview, just at the moment, because I feel like I'm so proud of them as a band and as artists, was with a band called Ginger Root that's actually from Orange County. They describe their music as elevator soul, which is like their like genre spiel. It's really, really cool. They have a really interesting sound that I adore so much. Reminds me of like late 70s, early 80s, like soul rock kind of stuff, very Steely Dan influenced.
Well, I do remember, and we'll never forget the time we had an afternoon show one summer about 10 years ago, and a guest for the talk show came in an hour early before the host was here, and this person came in wearing an orange jumpsuit, wearing a black hood, and holding a black bag, and stood inside our door without saying a word. Turned out it was just this frail little woman who was a professor at another university, and she was a political activist and an author, and she goes to her book signings dressed up trying to make a statement about how prisoners were treated at Guantanamo, but thinking, this is radio, they're not going to see what you look like.
Radio is simply your voice, and your voice as it is as a whole, because a lot of times I think film can chop up a certain perspective and a certain image that you portray, but your voice on the air is just like whatever you say is out there in the world, and you can't change it, and you can't edit it or filter it. So I think that's what it has above film, that it's like very genuine usually.
I think radio makes you think and makes you use your brain a little bit more, because you're getting information like you would on TV, but when you're seeing it, you don't have to really process it, just kind of flows in your mind. Whereas when you're listening to radio, you kind of visualize what the person's look like, what they're talking about, you visualize what they're talking about. So I think it makes your brain stay a little bit more fine-tuned and makes you think.
Radio really creates an ambiance that you can't get visually, and that's because with visual, you're being fed something to another sense. Your eyes are retaining information from something that is influencing you. With radio, it's just you, a voice, and the music that's being played. And I think, radio is really important if you're doing something and, you just have your headphones in. You could be, just walking down the street or having a good walk or walking around campus, and you put on KUCI and the music is influencing you. It influences your day. You're walking around going, I really like the way this sounds, like I want to hear what artist this is. And then the DJ comes on and is talking with you, and you're going like, wow, I really like the way this person talks. I like the way that they describe the music. I like their taste. I like what they're interested in. And I feel like that's really important for finding your audience and influencing your audience with their ears, you know, using their ears, auditory, instead of just going like, here's a music video. And I know that that's a huge thing when, like, I wasn't alive for it, but when MTV and music videos were first coming out, that was a huge thing of, oh my gosh, like, what's gonna happen to radio? And I think that radio has really, like, lived beyond what people expected its lifespan to be. And it's still kicking. I think that it's still a really cool platform to, you know, get the things that you wouldn't necessarily get from like a mainstream, like, visual media platform.